Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Sports for All. Tonight, it's Sports for All presented by Injinji. And we have with us members of the Injinji Trail Running team, headed by Dave Montemayor. And tonight, we look forward to a fun and interesting discussion centered on trail running, a very interesting sport, a lot of uh, a lot of differences between your typical road running and trail running. So to start, let's uh, let's begin. And my first question is for Dave. Um, I want to ask you, Dave, how were you able to bring Injinji here to the country? And a second question is, how were you able to assemble this team?
Well, first and foremost, thank you for having us, Vince, Brian. It's been a pleasure, and really grateful for being here with you. Well, I think as with any distribution or any innovation of a product, it all boils down first to personal experience. No? So it was back in 2018. So I was really into trail running. So I was doing like 50K, 100K. I remember during that time, I thought I would never do 100K. So it was Pulag 100. So 100K, it's 30 hours cut off and around 8,000, I think, meters of climbing. So it was pretty rough. And then there was a time when I was, because when you do like 100Ks, you usually go, you progress by the distance. So you go 21K and then you do 42K and then you do 50K. Some races would even do like a 70 to 80K. Until there was a time that for you to do 100K, you'll have to invest in a lot of equipment. So you'd have your vest, you'd have your shirt, you'd have your shorts, you'd have a good, really good pair of shoes. And of course, you wouldn't notice this, but when you transfer from 21 to 42 to 50 to the ultras, your feet really get wet and really get soggy as the race progresses. And there will come a time wherein there's a big chance that you will develop a blister. And this is kind of funny because think about it. You've been training for 3, 4, 5 months for a 100K, and then suddenly, you'll get blisters at 60th K mark. You paid what, a couple of thousand pesos for you to register in that event. Then suddenly you'll get a blister, and then everything falls apart. You do a DNF, no. So that's what happened to me. That's what I was trying to anticipate, that blisters would happen to me for 100K. So what I did was I searched the internet. What's a good sock? What's a good pair of socks? I had pretty good shoes. So the problem is, the issue for me is what socks. So I went to Amazon. I went to a lot of stuff. I went to a lot of sporting goods store in the US online, and I found out in Injinji. And I was quite surprised because there were a lot of reviews about it. If you do like an Amazon review, you'd have 5,000 reviews. You go to Running Warehouse, you'd get a lot of 5-star reviews. If you do like if you join a lot of Facebook groups concerning ultra marathons, they were all the rave about Injinji. So I was I was kind of I thought about it. How come no one's bringing it here? It's just a simple it's just a simple product. It's not like your shoes, your Nikes or your Hokas, right? And then I realized some of my friends would tell me, Dave, it's expensive. A typical pair would give you around 20 US, 25 US. And then I'm a type of guy who looks at value more than the price. No, so yes, you can get like a 300, 400 peso pair of socks, but then again, it's a do or die when it comes to ultra marathon for 100K and 160K. I mean, you've invested what, 8,000, 10,000 for a pair of shoes. You've invested 5,000 for a very good racing vest. was another 1,000 for a pair of shoes, right? For a pair of socks, right? So that's what happened. So I went to US, talked to Injinji, knock on their door. Not really literally, but I went to a trade show called Summer Outdoor Retailer Show, which is in Denver, Colorado. So I talked to them. There was an exhibit there, and I said, I'm a big fan of your socks. I mean, your socks made me finish Bulag 100 and Hardcore 100 miles, which is 160. I mean, do you have any distributor here? And they said, we don't have any distributor, but we'd love to partner with you because you know the brand. I mean, you've used it, and I'm pretty sure you'll be a great champion for the brand. So it took some time for negotiations, like any other thing. So after like 4 to 5 months of back and forth with negotiating distribution agreement, we finally did our order, we did our PO, and then eventually it went here. So the next question is, how do we disseminate it, right? So that's your second question. So I was looking for a very good marketing guy, so I found out Gino. I mean, he was doing a lot of marketing for a good deal of brands, Under Armour, and then he pretty much knows the networking. So I told Gino, I mean, we pretty much know who are the really good, the elite runners in the trail scene and in the road scene. And then we tapped them, and then we we also put them on a litmus test, talking about their character. So because for me, skill you can learn, but character is either you have it or you don't. That's what I tell people. So eventually we came up with this team. They're really good. Not only are they good when it comes to skill, but when it comes to character, they're really top tier. So that's the story. Uh, but nowadays, I mean, we're on a lockdown, so I suppose all the ambassadors are doing their fair share of practicing, honing their craft, and I suppose when events are back, I mean, it will be a party for everyone. So that's the story of Injinji.
Thanks for that, Dave. Okay, so now we're gonna go through the trail runners, the team, and
Yeah.
mag-uumpisa ako. I'm gonna start with Shana, with Shana first. Paano ka nag-umpisa sa trail running?
Okay. Next question. Kasi I've been a road runner for almost 10 years now. So I started in 2013. So puro road siya. And then I was invited by one of the best race director here in the Philippines to join the trail running. So first was in Nuvali. So parang hindi siya talaga technical trail. So it's more on parang yung terrain lang is different from road. So when I experienced the trail, parang kakaiba siya sa road. So maraming differences. So nagustuhan ko siya. And then I started to check out other trail events. Pero more on short distances kasi mas convenient pa rin sa akin kasi yung road running. So I'm both trying the road or practicing the road and trail running at the same time until now.
Right. Anthony, ikaw naman, paano ka nag-umpisa dito sa trail running?
Hello, good evening. Well, nag-start ako ng running back in 2012. Tapos, nag-start ako ng trail running 2016. The moment na sinubukan ko siya, that moment, alam ko na yun talaga yung sport na mamahalin ko. Sobrang pagkasubo ko pa lang, mahal ko na siya. You know what I'm saying? Hanggang ngayon, 2021, trail running pa rin. Ayun, sobrang saya. Mas mahirap talaga siya compare sa road. Kaya siguro isa yun sa mga dahilan kung bakit ko siya nagustuhan. Tsaka yung community, ano eh, well, hindi ko naman masasabing maliit, pero hindi siya gano'n kalaki. Kaya kaming mga trail runners, talagang magkakakilala kami sa karera, sa training, talagang nagpapansinan kami. Hindi katulad nung maro-road ako, marami akong hindi mga kakilala eh. Pero sa trail running, masasabi ko halos lahat. Kaibigan ko, kakilala ko. Tsaka yung dun sa pinagte-trainingan namin, yung mga lokal, yung mga nakatira sa bundok, alam mo yung sobrang babait nila. Kapag nakikita nila kaming tumatakbo, nagte-training, pinapapasok nila kami sa bahay nila. Well, ngayon, umiiwas ako kasi alam kong merong COVID, kaya ngayon medyo dumidistansya ako. Pero yun, yung mga lokal na nakatira doon, isa din sila sa mga dahilan kung bakit mahal ko 'tong sport na 'to. Para sa akin, yun lang. Thank you.
Salamat, Anthony. Paolo, ikaw naman, paano ka nag-umpisa dito sa trail running?
First, for way back 2016, nag-start ako ng mountaineering. Then, siguro nakailang akit ako ng bundok. Then may nakilala po akong runner, road runner. In-introduce niya po sa akin yung road run. Then, after na may mga nakilala po akong friend from road running. In-introduce naman sa akin yung trail running. Then, ang sabi ko, ang sa sarili ko po, bakit hindi ko pagsabayin yung running sa mountaineering, kaya po ako napunta sa trail run. Then sa trail run, mas marami po akong nakilalang tao na mas maraming kaibigan na nakilala. Tsaka mas, para po sa akin, mas masarap tumakbo sa trail kasi lahat ng makakasalubong mo, babatiin ka, ibuboost yung energy mo kasi katulad nga po ng sinabi ni Sir Anthony na halos lahat sila magkakakilala, kaya lahat sila ibuboost po yung energy mo na kahit pagod ka na habang tumatakbo ng ultra, nandyan sila para i-lift ka na sasabihin nila sa'yo na kaya mo na. Kaya mas na in love rin po ako sa sa trail running. Yun.
Okay, Richard? Richard? Nakamute
Yes po.
ka. Yan.
Kaya lang.
Paano ka nag-umpisa sa trail running?
Sa trail running, una po gusto ko lang talaga magpapayat. Dati ako obese. Then, nag-start ako sa mountaineering din. Then, may nakilala ako sa isang event na runner din. Tapos, na-introduce sa akin yung road running muna din. Nakapag-road running ako, tapos nakasali ako sa isang team dito lang sa may MOA. Then, na-introduce nila ako sa trail running. Then yun, mas na-enjoy ko yung trail running kasi kapag tumatakbo ka sa trail, lalo na kapag may race, tapos kasama mo yung friends or yung teammates mo, binuboost nila yung energy mo, mas na-motivate ka, mas na-enjoy mo yung pagtakbo sa trail. Yun po. Thank you.
Salamat, Richard. Okay, sige, habang nakano si Rai, kay Cheryl tayo. Paano ka nag-umpisa sa trail running, Cheryl?
Hi, hello po, magandang gabi. So nag-start po ako sa trail running. My friend asked me to run her behalf kasi namatay yung father niya. So wala po akong idea kung ano po yung trail running noon. So nung race, ang suot ko noon is road shoes. So pangalawa ko sa babae. And then yun, nung pangalawa ko, naiwan ako kasi pulikat yung sa paa ko. Tapos yung sapatos ko nag-i-slide kasi wala pa akong pang trail shoes noon. Doon nag-start ko yung trail running career ko. So nag-start ako as in wala talagang idea kung ano or ano po. Pero nung nakita ko, ay, parang enjoy, may challenge, and then nakakatulong sa mental health, hindi lang sa mental health, sa physical health din po. Doon po ako na lahat po, ang pinakamaganda po sa trail running is the community. Handa silang tulungan ka, i-guide ka kung ano po yung dapat mong gagawin. And then sabi nga ng mentor ko, lahat nag-i-start sa umpisa. Kung mahal mo yung ginagawa mo, marayo yung mararating mo. So, ang pinaka-the best kung bakit mas minahal ko yung trail running is because of the support ng mga runners sa akin. Sobrang support, lahat ng mga gamit ko binibigay nila. Yun, kaya mas naging disiplito. Sobrang mas minahal ko talaga yung pagtakbo sa bundok. And then dun sa Wawa po kasi, dun ako nagte-training almost 6 years na po. Yung mga local dun, sobrang bilong ako, family, tapos tinatanggap nila ako. Pag nagte-training po ako dun, pinapakain, tapos parang family talaga. Sobrang ganda ng trail running community. Sobrang pag-start ka, halos lahat sila nilang turuan kung ano yung dapat mong gawin. Din lang po.
Salamat, Cheryl. Okay, si Rai. Nandiyan ka ba, Rai? Sige, balikan na. We'll get back to Rai later. I want to ask Dave another question. What reviews or what was the initial feedback from the runners you got after they tried or after a few days of trying out the socks? What feedback did you get?
Well, it's I kind of understood them before they bought it. They were like, they're expensive because it would get you what, 800, 1,000 to 1,200 a pair, right? So, but I understand them kasi mahal nga naman talaga if you think about it, because the closest competitors would be your Drymax, would be I think T8, which is like 20-30%. So, but I told them, you just try it, just buy one pair, and I'm pretty sure it will change your life. It will change your trail running life for that matter. So after a while, they would say, hindi na ako nagkapaltos, or never na ako nagka-blister. And I think it gives my toes the ability to splay, which is basically the evolutionary way of, your body's evolutionary way of absorbing impact forces on your feet. So, and then eventually, they'd be a big fan, and then they buy another pair, and then another pair, and then there will be like a word of mouth everywhere, because it's like what others would say, it's really a small community. So if a product is really great, then it's easy to do like a word of mouth marketing. So that's it.
All right. Thanks, Dave. Godfather, you're up.
Yeah. I just like to ask the runners. We're all in this pandemic, and we all know that a lot of people had to adjust in their kinds of exercise or calisthenics. How did this affect you? I mean, were there major changes you had to adjust to, especially when you do your running? Siguro sino bang pwedeng start? Siguro kay Shana.
Okay, hello again. So, ang hirap actually. So, since 2020, now it's 2021. So, pinag-uusapan pa rin natin yung COVID-19 pandemic na yan. It's very depressing.
Yeah.
At first, di ba sabi March, April, until May, maximum of 3 months lang. So, parang we try to convince, especially sa family ko na 3 months lang yan. So, kaya natin yan. And then, when it comes to fitness and running, so I continue my routine. Kasi even before, aside from running, I do my strengthening at home. I have my home gym equipment, yung mga like dumbbells, yung mga pwede kong gamitin for strengthening. So I do a lot of those workouts. And then bawal lumabas, di ba, before. So sometimes I do jog in place in 30 minutes. So yung challenge lang medyo masakit talaga sa talampakan. So I use mat, I use different I try to discover different exercises to continue to get fit or stay fit. There you go. So ayun lang. And then I also try to do live or online workout to share the exercises with my friends or with the running community. So mayroon ako mga live workout before also to motivate me to continue kasi I got to a point na tinamad na ako kasi every time na na-extend yung ECQ or every time na ina-announce na hindi na naman tayo makakalabas, parang depressing talaga siya. So sa parang ayaw ko na. But then I have to convince again. Kasi ikaw lang talaga mag-convince ng sarili mo. And then with the help of the community, sa both road and the trail community, yun, nag-join kami ng mga exercises namin para continue pa rin yung fitness. And then, eventually, magto 2 years na, ganun pa rin. But I'm thankful kasi ngayon nakakalabas na tayo. We get to go out and run. And then, I hope soon we can go out na din. Makapunta na rin kami sa mga training grounds or sa playground namin. Especially yung mga na-mention nila na close dito sa Manila, like sa Rizal. So, yun talaga yung malapit na training area for trail running. So I hope mag-open na ulit and then we get to enjoy the trail again.
Chard, alam ko kanina sinasabi mo na to. Can you, pinag-usapan natin before we started eh. Ikaw, sa'yo, on your part.
Sa'yo po, mahirap din kasi katulad ngayon yung may tao dito sa bahay na kaka-opera lang po. So, iniiwasan ko talaga na magka-contact or yung close contact sa may mga sakit or yung dito sa COVID-19 para hindi rin yung mga tao dito sa bahay. So, yung training na ginagawa ko is yung dito lang sa room ko, may mga resistance band ako na nilalagay dito sa waistcoat and itatali ko sa hagdan. Tapos mag-strides ako or yung running form. Then, nag-try din ako ng iba't ibang workouts. Then, yun, yung running form, ginagawa ko lang din siya sa room ko. Then, I tried also the jump rope. Then, always ko ginagawa yung hip mobility para when okay na ulit bumalik sa trail, hindi mabibigla yung katawan ko para pag yung sa trail running. Then always din na yung core training, full body workouts, then tinatrack ko din yung food ko para maganda pa rin yung condition. Yun po.
How about you, Sherlyn? Sherlyn?
Early?
Sherlyn, can you hear us?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
How about you?
Yes, okay na.
Yan.
Nung lockdown po. So, nung nalaman kong lockdown, medyo napapaisip ako kasi lagi po nasa bundok ako eh. And then, January, February, nag-start na po ako for training kasi may race po ako sa Vietnam. Tapos ayun po, during lockdown, nag-workout po ako sa kwarto ko, tumatakbo ako sa kusina, mga 30 kilometer, paikot-ikot lang para continuous pa rin po yung training ko. And then, na-discover ko din po yung jump rope. Ayun. And then, nanonood po ako sa YouTube ng mga tricks. Ayun po yung ginagawa ko ngayon. And then, ayun po, yung sa jump rope para at least continue po yung fitness level ko. Ang hirap din po kasi nag-start ka sa nag-training ka and then biglang i-stop mo. Sobrang hirap ulit mag-start na magpapalakas ka ulit. So, ang ginawa ko po, continuous po ang training ko, workout, jump rope, and then matulog ng maaga. Ganun pa din po. Yun nga lang ang kakaiba is hindi tayo sa outdoor.
Yeah.
Indoor naman tayo po during lockdown.
Ikaw, Anthony.
Ayun, during lockdown, 'di ba 3 months 'yun. So sobrang hirap.
Yeah.
Kasi kami ni Dave, nagkikita kami palagi niyan sa trail. Tapos nung nag-lockdown ng 3 months, para sa akin ang hirap. Nagbawas ako ng kain para ma-maintain ko yung bigat ko. Tapos sa loob ng bahay ako tumatakbo. Mahirap pero kesa wala, 'di ba? Mas okay na rin 'yun pagtapos kong tumakbo, ma-workout ako. Pero ngayong GCQ na, masasabi ko nakakapag-training na ako ulit ng maayos kumpara dati. Nakakatakbo na ako sa labas ng Monday to Sunday. Kulang na lang talaga karera eh. Pero alam naman nating bawal pa talaga. So, yun lang yun sa akin.
Ask ko rin sa coaches sana. I mean, do you give the runners any particular sets of exercise, especially sa online ngayon, where yung iba limited pa sa online? Coach Paulo.
Nung lockdown po, since nung nag-lockdown, dun sa team namin, nagkaroon po kami ng online workout para dun sa mga Thursday squad na umattend sa amin every Thursday sa MOA. Naging consistent naman po siya hanggang so nung nagkaroon ng GCQ na naging open na ulit yung sa labas na pwede nang ulit tumakbo, na pwede na ulit mag-training. Then after po noon, medyo naglaylo ng konti. Pero eventually, nakakapagbigay naman po kami ng home workouts para sa mga naghihingi na ka-team namin or sa mga trainees. Nakakapagbigay naman po kami ng mga HIIT workout para po kahit papano we can stay fit and healthy.
Di ba kinahirapan, coach? Kasi I'm hearing from the other coaches that they're having a difficult time adjusting to online kasi may mga timing, the proper execution, yung mga ganun.
Yes po, medyo nahihirapan rin po, especially sa akin kasi nagkaroon rin po ako ng ginagawa sa may barangay namin. Pero we still find time, since gusto naman po namin yung ginagawa namin, we can still find time para makapagturo. Then kapag may nagtatanong kung tama naman po ba yung ano bang tawag dito, yung ano po nila, mga form nila, doon po namin sila sinasabihan na medyo ayusin lang po ng konti. Pero since medyo nahihirapan, yung iba nagkaroon ng weight gain, na ano rin po namin na depende po kung ano po yung workout na ibinibigay namin para sa kanila.
Sir Dave, what's your take on this, yung mga adjustments na ginagawa natin just to keep your keep them fit?
Yeah, I think Brian, I like what everyone said, no? And to sum it all up, I think the sad thing that happened to us is basically, where do you find the motivation to train? It's been gloomy and there's no positive reinforcement. Think about it. If you run like every day,
Mhm.
you've been training for like 2 years, 3 years nonstop, because there were races, no? So
Yes.
meaning I'm going to train because there's a race. Think about it. For 2 years now, I'm going to train. I don't know when the races will be, di ba? So
True.
it's really, really hard to find motivation. And
Mm.
I think a lot of the people find motivation in different ways. I mean,
Yes.
they find motivation by their weight, they find their motivation through Strava, they find their motivation through Facebook.
Mhm.
I think it's been a time wherein you really need to clap for yourself, and whether, because there's no reinforcement whatsoever, there's no Milo marathon,
Mm.
there's no what whatsoever. So, and I think also in terms of the adjustment, I hope it's temporary. I hope
Yeah.
the Zumbas will be again be done in the physical realm.
True.
I hope I suppose the gyms are now open 30%. I read in the newspaper, and I hope by next year will be okay. And yeah, it's been very hard, very very hard. Uh, in my on my end, I mean, think about it. Usually by this time, in terms of the trail races, we're done with H1 already, which is the 160.
Mhm.
Uh, so basically, it's already the off season, quote unquote,
Mhm.
for trail runners by this time, and it's been very hard to train. To be honest, to find the motivation, but we have to do it. We have to do it. I mean, um, because when the lights are on again, uh, it will be really really fun.
So I think that parang ano, correct me if I'm wrong, Sir Dave, this is where you talk about the mental thing
Yeah,
that's associated, right?
yeah. It's hard kasi um it's before every week there was a race, whether it be road or trail, there was a race. So you will really pump up the train. But right now, it's really bad. And I think yeah, you need to it's a training for the mental attitude of it. So
Thank you. Back to you, Vince.
Okay, yung question ko kay Shirley, sa trail running, ano yung mga common na injuries sa trail sa sport nyo, sa trail running? Shirley?
Ay, sorry. Pakiulit po kasi medyo
Okay.
nagloloko po yung
Okay lang. Okay lang. Ano yung mga common na injury sa trail running?
yung common po na injury sa training is yung sa shins din po yung sa yung mali yung form ng runner, yung sa knee. Meron po kasi yung proper form para ma-avoid natin yung injury natin. So kailangan po is always mag-recover after training or race. Kailangan natin mag-recover para avoid natin yung injury.
Salamat, Shirley. Okay, my next question kay Anthony. Meron bang difference yung trail running na specific workout sa road running na specific workout?
Yung workout ko nung road pa ako until now, pareho lang din naman. Basta maging consistent ka lang para maiwasan yung mga common injuries. Kasi kapag nasobrahan ka o nabawasan ka sa pagte-training, dun siya magsisimula eh. Well, masasabi ko masama yung kulang at masama din ang sobra.
Thank you, Anthony. Paulo, ano yung mga challenges ng trail running sa time na tumakbo ka sa trail? Ano yung mga challenges na na-encounter mo?
Sa akin po, especially for me, ang naging challenge po sa akin since I'm from Navotas, yung biyahe, ayun po yung pinaka naging challenge sa akin kasi since hirap ako mag-commute din, hindi naman ako makahanap ng sarili kong sasakyan. Pero every time naman po na may mga friend ako na sumasama sa akin para makapag-training, especially kapag may big race akong kailangan paghandaan. Ayun po.
Thank you, Paulo. Richard, yung sa sport mo, sa laro mo na trail running, ano mga parts ng pagtakbo mo sa trail ang sa tingin mo kailangan pa ng improvement?
Siguro yung kailangan pa ng improvement sa akin yung footwork din. Kasi compare sa road, straight lang yung tinatakbuhan mo, flat lang. Then sa trail kasi, hindi mo masabi. May change of, iba-iba yung tinatakbo mo sa trail. May rocky, may muddy, then may mga ugat pa na nadadaanan. So yung sa footwork, kailangan mas ano yung agility mo. Yun yung kailangan to improve, yung bilis ng paa ko, then yung reflexes po. Dahil lalo na kapag downhill, hindi mo mapapansin, may puno na pala na nasa harap mo. So mag-change direction ka naman. So para maiwasan yung injury, yun, kailangan ko pa mag-train na more on footworks and agility.
Salamat, Richard. Okay, Shana, nakapag-train na ba kayo as a team in any, since nag-umpisa yung COVID, have you had any chance to train as a team in any of the trails dito sa atin?
After, since nag-lockdown last March 2020, ako personally, hindi ko siya muna tinry, or even though yung mga members ng team namin, so I have my own team and I train them. Usually mga road runners, and I also we introduce them to trail running as well, for them to experience the fun and the challenges. But for now, I always encourage them to train on their own. Kasi yun talaga yung pwede sa ngayon. So, bawal mo na yung group training. But I get to train with them online pa rin. So, yun pa rin yung ginagawa namin. And at the same time, nag-enjoy kasi ako dun sa online namin na workout. But for now, nakikita ko yung iba, nagtitrain sila, run sila together, and I never forget to remind them na to avoid yung sobrang dami talaga ng numbers ng participants. Kasi hindi pa talaga safe. We all know na hindi safe. So I'm looking forward na soon I get to train with them kasi nakakamiss talaga. Masarap mag-training with a group and share your experience with the newbies, and then from them as well, I learn also. So yun yung mga nakakamiss, yung gatherings, yung bonding through training.
All right. Thank you, Shana. Okay, back to Dave. My question for you is, things are beginning to, open up slowly, ever so slowly. Gyms are opening up to 30% capacity. Now, when competition returns, when trail running competition returns, are you going to require these guys to be fully vaccinated in order to compete?
Well, we really don't have a regulatory body for trail running, unlike other sports. No, as a matter of fact, I would tell it that trail running is really, it's in its infancy stages still in the Philippines. No, I got to try trail running in Europe 2 years ago, and they're like decades in advance, no, compared to us. So I'm not really in the right position to require them. But if I were a race director, I will require everyone to be vaccinated. Not only because the thing with trail running is you go through the localities, no? So you go through, through a lot of houses, local houses. You go through aid stations that are manned by locals, and yes, you have the financial capability to cure yourself when you go back to Manila. But how about them? They don't have, the proper healthcare system, especially in the mountains. So it's more on the local side that I'm really, really uh, afraid of. And second one is trail runners are basically healthy, so I think in terms of defending against the virus, we have better immune system, which is kind of funny, Vince, because I think in the US they're basically telling everyone to go out to the outdoors, and which I think is really good because you get less risk to contract the virus when you're outdoors. But here in us, it's kind of counterintuitive that you're not allowing us to go outdoors, because as a matter of fact, when you go outdoors, you're not really cramped let's say in a mall. No? So yeah, going back to your question, I would prefer everyone. I mean, not only the ambassadors, but everyone in the race to be vaccinated. Even though myself, I'm already vaccinated. I want everyone still to be vaccinated.
One more question, Dave.
Yeah.
Since the pandemic started, have there been any workarounds or circumventions you've tried to get these guys training, hitting the trails again to, at least get some training?
Yeah, I think that's the thing with the ambassadors. No? They're self-motivated. So you don't knock on their doors and tell them to go train. I think like what I said, they're really strong in character and they're highly motivated individuals. So you don't know you don't need to tell them to train. They will train them by themselves, by hook or by crook, for that matter. So yeah, I mean, going back to all the questions, I would like to sum up everything. No? What's the difference between road and trail? What are the common injuries? What they say is the ratio of road to trail is 1:3. So they said that every 3 kilometers of road is equal to 1 kilometer of trail, which I think yes, but also no. Yes, because it's harder. So for every 1 kilometer of trail, it's as if you're running 3 kilometers of road. It's yes and no, because the thing with the trail is the undulations are there, so the elevation changes are there. Second one is you really need to be conscious on your step because it's not a flat step, right? It's so you kind of there's always an imminent danger to roll your ankle, and so that's one. Second, and I think a lot of trail runners get injured because the way they they compare themselves is the way they compare themselves in the road. For example, let's say I did 10 kilometer on the road, so that means I also need to do 10 kilometer on the trail. That's not correct. I think on the trail, what's better is like I think the world elites have this term, the time on feet, right? So what they said is if I'm going to train in the mountains, it's not the distance that I should be looking at, it's the hours or the duration, especially on the ultras. So because if you do like 160K, you can train for 160K. So it's basically a time on feet or a time on foot. So what they say. So yeah, I think that's what I can add to what the others said.
Thanks, Dave. Okay, my question to sa lahat ng members ng team, no? And I'll start with kay Anthony. Anong trail dito sa atin ang looking forward ka na tumakbo as soon as mawala itong pandemyang to?
I think for Anthony, all the trails he's looking forward to because he wants to.
Yeah, you
Well,
got it,
yung
Dave.
ano lang, Anthony, yung, okay, sabi ni Dave, lahat ng trails or maraming trails, yung pinaka ano lang talaga, yung pinaka inaasam-asam mo na trail.
Ang masasabi ko yung Mapulag. Mount Pulag.
At
Kasi nakakatatlong karera na ako na dumadaan ako ng Mount Pulag. Pero ang hirap talaga eh. Very tough mountain. Pero sobrang ganda sa taas. Kaya masasabi ko yung trail ng Pulag, Mount Pulag.
Alright. Okay, Shana, ikaw, anong trail ang ano mo, ang gusto mong takbuhan? Nakamute ka, Shana.
And yes, hindi kasi ako, siguro kung i-rate ko yung run ko sa road versus trail, siguro nasa 70% road and then 30% trail. Kasi in my situation, I am a mom of 3. So parang very challenging yung time management kasi pag pupunta ka sa trail, you need a lot of time. You have to wake up very early as 2 a.m. Tapos yung destination ko lang ay dyan lang sa Rizal. So parang yung travel time ko is around 2 to 3 hours. And then I have to start from between 5 a.m. to 6 para mas makatch mo yung sunrise. Usually yun yung nilululook forward muna ng mga runners eh. Aside sa training. So yung love ko sa trail parang hati lagi kasi gusto ko pero napupull back ako nung sa situation ko. So pero yung gusto ko talagang matry yung mga mountains sa Visayas, sa Mindanao. And then I went to Pulag na as well. Pero nag-hike lang kami. So I wanna try as well running the Mount Pulag. And siguro yung one of my biggest dream for now gusto kong conquer yung hardcore 100. Sana someday hindi ko naman nira-rush. Pero when I went there 2 years ago, parang wow, parang naano ko lang siya, na-experience ko lang yung siguro mga 30% ng buong course nung H1. So H1, we call it H1, it's Hardcore 100. It's one of the toughest trail race in the Philippines. So yun, yun yung nasa list ko. Marami actually. And then maybe someday pag na-reach ko na yung mga goals ko na yun, I want to try international races as well.
Okay. Ikaw, Paolo, which trail and which trail at bakit?
Siguro po kagaya ng mga maraming trail runner, isa na rin po siguro yung H1 yung tinatawag nilang 100 miles. Since konti po yung marami pong sumasali pero konti yung percentage na nananalo, then mahabang training po yung kailangan rin po nating tignan yung sa nutrition. Ayun nga po yung sabi na one of the toughest race dito sa Pilipinas. Ayun.
Okay. Shirley?
Sa akin din po, yun sa mga races po ng Horlicks, H1 din po. Kasi yun po yung weakness ko. Gusto kong i-develop, gusto kong maano yung lamig ko kasi mahina ako sa lamig. So, sumali po ako sa KOTM, Horlicks, na DNF po ako kasi naligaw, and then sa Ultra 100 nilamig po ako. As in, nagkasakit po ako po 70 kilometer. So gusto ko pong akyatin, yung gusto kong akyatin matapos yung race na po yun. Kasi yun po yung mga yun yung mga pinakamahirap na races po ng KOTM. So ayun po, basta gusto buhan yung mga malalamig po para at least maano ko po yung kahinaan po sa lamig po.
Salamat, Shirley. All right, back to you, Brian.
Okay, so I'm just curious, kasi kanina nabanggit nyo, when you do trail running, it's basically out in the open. So when you do your runs, do you bring anything parang for your protection or just in case you stumble upon any, untoward things or people like that? So I'd like to start with Richard.
Yeah. When I run outside, yung face mask ko nakababa or tinatanggal ko. Pero pag nakikita ko yung crowd or may mga kasalubong, sinusuot ko lang din ulit para iwas sa contact. Then para protect ko sa sarili ko, then protect ko din sa mga kasalubong. So yun.
Pero what about kunwari may mga aso or kasi when you talk about yung mga ganon, what do you do in those instances?
Pag may aso naman po, hinahayaan ko lang eh. Usually ganun, hinahayaan ko lang din po. Or kapag talaga nangahabol, may dala naman din ako hydration. Inaano ko lang ng tubig para hindi na ako habulin.
Okay.
So,
how about you, Sherlyn? Sa'yo, how do you deal with those things?
Ayos po. Lagi po ako sa bundok. So, minsan may mga nakikita akong ahas po.
Yun.
Ayun po, always be alert po. Wag na lang pong kasi pag hindi ka gumalaw, hindi din po sila gagalaw. Ayun po. And then, meron din yung mga baka. Madami po kaming na-encounter. Pero hindi naman sila, hindi ka naman sila ganun ka sa mga trail runners. So parang be alert na lang lagi po.
Shana?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so we talked about it before we went online. So maraming possible na mangyari while you're running, especially kung mag-isa ka lang at kung yung time is unsafe, like madaling araw or late at night, kasi may mga ganun talaga, especially those runners who train for ultra marathon or ultra trail, so they need a lot of time sa mountain. So in my experience, yun, dito naman yun sa road. So, hindi natin maiwasan. Meron talagang mga masasamang loob. So, yung like nung na-post ko before, I experienced harassment dun sa mga tambay. So, ang ma-advise ko lang, especially sa mga girls, don't go alone or don't run alone kung hindi safe yung lugar. Or better to find another place where you feel safer. If you go on trail alone naman, make sure na maraming, parang hindi siya masyadong delikado. You'll know naman kung unsafe yung place. So it's always better to run with the companion. And then hindi rin, before may mga nag-advise sa akin, after I posted that incident na nangyari sa akin, nag-advise sila na magdala ng mga para tawag doon, protection, like tawag doon, like knife or spray. I would not suggest siguro yung yung mga knife or yung ganon. Kasi it will be used against you kung hindi ka marunong. So better na lang maging alert ka, okay? Maging observant ka sa surrounding. So talagang dapat laging nakafocus ka. Kung hindi safe, kung nag-aalangan ka, better back out. And then kung nandun ka na sa situation na yon, unahin mo laging isipin kung ano yung the best na ma-rescue mo yung sarili mo.
Yeah.
Like what I did, takbo na lang. Since runner ka naman, wala ka ng choice, just run. Okay? And then seek for help pag mayroon.
How about you, Anthony?
Well, nasabi na nila yung karamihan. Masasabi ko lang ay mag-research ng maayos. Huwag masyadong pupunta doon sa mga lugar na hindi ka familiar. Lalo na kapag nag-iisa ka lang, lalo sa mga babae, dapat may kasama talaga, lalo kapag medyo maaga. Tsaka pinakamahalaga ngayon, make sure na social distancing pa rin, mag-mask. Yun lang sa akin.
Coach Paolo.
Para po sa akin siguro, unahin ko na po yung sa first aid. Para po every time na may training, nagte-training na mag-isa, meron po tayong first aid na laging dala. Of course, ID para if ever na may mangyari, merong contact person. Pati na rin po siguro na maging friendly sa mga locals. Para, since sila yung tutulong sa'yo if ever na nawawala po kayo. Ayun.
Si Coach Ray ba nandyan, Bits? Wala.
Yung ano niya, yung video niya, both video and audio are
acting up?
not working.
Okay.
With technical difficulties siya. So,
Okay. Sige, si Sir Dave na lang. Last ko.
Okay. So, well, most of them already said it. But let me add a couple. No? So, the main issue of training in trails or doing races in trails is that there's no signal.
Oh, yeah.
So that's a very, very big issue. Unlike, for example, like a road, right? When something happened, you can call someone. So what's the usual strategy? Usually, when you tell your parents or your loved ones that, hey, I need to be home by, let's say, 1 o'clock. If something is wrong, if I'm not home by 1 o'clock, 1 p.m., and I didn't text you or I didn't call you, please go here. So always give them like a contact or where are you or where you are. So that means my vest, my typical, battle gear for a training would be there's food, which is very essential because the thing with trails is that it's not like in road wherein the next corner you have a mini stop or a 7-Eleven. Yes. No, that's not the case. In trail, you go 2-3 hours before there's a sari-sari store. Second one is I always bring with me like at least a 1 liter water. So maybe 500 and 500 ml flask. So that those two are important. Of course, you should have money. So in case you get injured, there's a habal-habal can bring you go back to the jump off point. So those, it's really, really dangerous if you think about it because any slip and you're done, basically, especially if there's no signal. So as much as possible, always be responsible of your whereabouts. Like what they said, usually dapat may kasama ka. But it's really hard sometimes because especially if you have your own pace, especially if you have something to do later on that you need to be faster. And so that's my tip. Usually in the races, Vince and Brian, they require required gear basically. So what are your typical required gears? You have your jackets, you have your space blankets. So you have some races would even require you to have a backup for everything. So you have a backup headlamp, backup what do you call this? Basically medicine, and they would penalize you if because there's like random checking in the aid stations. So when you arrive, there's a chance that they would ask you, where's your whistle, where's your cup, where's your, if not, they're going to add hours to your final time. So I think that's very wise, especially what happened to that ultra marathon in China wherein 21 trail runners died.
Mhm.
I think a lot of them weren't bringing like rated pants, I think. But then again, it's hindsight is 2020, so you don't even know we don't know. We will not never know what happened there. So better to be safe always. Do not compromise the weight of your vest for safety, please, everyone.
Speaking of weight, I was gonna ask, with all those things that you're bringing, is this additional load when you do your trail running?
My mantra is always train heavy, race light. Because usually a lot of people train light and race heavy. It should be the other way around. I mean, if you do like a you should always simulate race day condition. So usually your vest should be heavy, should always be there. So when the race comes, usually you will feel it on your legs. If your vest is too big or if you're not used to the weight. So my mantra is always train heavy and race light. I mean, bring everything, bring all the standard gear that you would need in race day. And it will improve your strength, improve your speed, so everything. And I think we're in the era of trail running wherein where we've reached the maximum point of ultra lightweight. I think more than this, then it's a compromise of quality already. I think in the past, like 5 years or 10 years ago, everyone was looking for what's more lightweight, lightweight, lightweight. I think we're in the era wherein we're already there, and more gram savings would compromise quality. So I think we're in a very good position already. Usually, I mean, you could see like a typical running vest for 300 grams. The lightest poles would be 150 grams. So if you're really a gram counter, I think you're in a very good era. As a matter of fact, I think it's on the top of my head. If you do like 100K, I think the max of what you're bringing should be around 4 to 5 kilos already, which could translate to 5 liters, so to speak. So yeah, I think please don't compromise. I mean, anyone watching, please don't compromise safety for the benefit of weight, please.
Okay, Vince, thank you.
Dave, before COVID hit, what was the next step for both the brand and the team? What was supposedly the next step?
Well, when I welcomed them, I told the ambassadors, I really don't have expectations of skill. I have only expectations of character. I mean, there are a lot of chances in races wherein the odds would get stacked against you. Like for example, let's say you turn your ankle in kilometer 50 out of 100, and you were supposed to be an elite, and everyone is expecting you to do like a podium finish, right? But what I tell them, I really don't expect you to do like a podium. What I'm asking of you is basically actions of character. What do you mean by this? Usually in trail runs, the RDs don't really do their markings, and it will kind of piss you off if you're running first and then suddenly you get lost, right? And then a lot of people would go through social media bashing the RD. So that for me is a no-no. I think we're in a good position to really hone in on character and skill. And I think if once races are back, we'd be sponsoring a lot of races. we'll make sure that Injinji will penetrate the market still. And I think the ambassadors will have fun in the races for sure, for sure. And we're still open to getting a lot of ambassadors, especially those who are really in need. Like this morning, we just signed Elias Tabak, who is really in the pinnacle of OCR. I mean, he's been, and I think for me, in terms of this brand, is like what I tell Gino always. It's not so much about making money. It's about helping those who are in need of very good equipment. And we're here to help people, actually, to be honest.
So okay, so Dave, you mentioned OCR. So Injinji is not just involved with trail running, but OCR as well. And if that's a yes, then what other outdoor sports is the brand planning to get involved in?
Yeah, I think Injinji shines the best when it comes to long duration activities. The thing with like a 10K or 5K, I have to admit you won't really notice the difference because one, your feet aren't that soaked with sweat, right? So the possibility of blisters is not really big, no. So in OCR you could do like a 3 to 4 hour event, which I think in Injinji will really shine. So we have the ultra events, the road runs. I think right now everyone also looking for we're also doing like a trying to penetrate the cycling market. I think we have very good position for that. So that's it. I think the 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 trail running community, the running community, the OCR community are big in themselves. We're looking at around 50. Think about it, like a typical running event before pre-COVID, like a 42K Milo would garner around 15,000, and that's a pretty big market already. So and what we always tell like I always tell Gino, I mean, there's 110 million people in the Philippines, so we have what 220 million feet to to uh to
That's all.
to say, yeah. So yeah, I think we're in a very good position.
All right. And we only have a few minutes left, Dave and company. We will use the last few minutes for you guys to say your final words. If there's anything you want to promote, anybody you want to say hi to, go ahead. So we'll start with you, Dave.
Well, I think I would like to uh, say hi to all the runners, trail runners, and I hope a lot of people would try trail running. And I think, like what I always tell people, trail running has been meditative for me more than any other sport. I think a lot of people will really. That's the thing about trail running. It's a meditative sport. I mean, 3 4 hours just go by when you're having fun, and please always have fun in any endeavor that you like. I mean, when you're having fun, I mean the results will come, and yeah, that's what I want to say.
Thank you, Dave. Okay, Shana.
Okay. So all I want to say is, yeah, thank you for having us tonight, and I want to say hello to everyone watching, and sa lahat ng runners, OCR athletes, trail runners. I want to say thank you sa lahat kasi they are part of my motivations. So lahat talagang nag-contribute, especially nung mga times na I really I was really depressed talaga. may talagang na-experience ko talaga. Totoo yung anxiety, totoo yung depression. And then, just browsing the social media, marami talagang motivations na makukuha. You just have to go back to the right path, and then you have to convince yourself as well with the help of the community in sports. Ang ganda ng so far naging okay naman. So I want to tell everyone na kung meron mo kayong pinagdadaanan ngayon, it's okay. Just yung stay positive na word, lagi ang hirap minsan eh. Kasi you get to the point na parang you're hopeless. So just pray and then reflect kung ano yung mga kung ano yung nagpapasaya sa iyo, kahit small thing, tingnan niyo yon para lang you stay in track. Para ang hirap kasi, hirap talaga. So that's it. I hope you guys will stay fit and healthy, okay, through running and exercises.
Thank you, Shana. Anthony?
First, thank you, Vince and Brian, for this opportunity. We really do appreciate it. Gusto kong magpasalamat kay Dave sa mga team ko, tsaka sa lahat ng mga kaibigan kong trail runners, sa family ko rin, sa walang sawang pagsuporta, kasi marami akong time na ginugugol sa pagde-training. Alam yan ng mga team ko, lalo kapag Sabado at Linggo. Yun, sa family ko, maraming salamat. Yun lang po.
Thank you, Anthony. Okay, Shirley, ikaw naman.
Gusto ko lang magpasalamat sa lahat ng sumusuporta sa akin. Sobrang gustong-gusto talaga nila akong suportahan sa pag-trail. Gusto ko lang salamatan yung family ko, laging nandyan. Tapos, yung mga maldita, ayan. Boss Dave, hi! Thank you, my mentor. Kung ano, yan. Thank you so much. And then, gusto ko lang sabihin yung sa Wawa kasi, sobrang nagpapasalamat ako kasi halos dyan na ako tumira. Yan na yung bahay ko. Dyan ako lumakas. Tapos, yung mga locals, sobrang pinapakita nila na always welcome ako dun. Thank you so much kung ano po ako ngayon dahil sa inyo. So, salamat sa laging suporta sa akin kung ano po yung kailangan ko na pin-provide. Tapos, basta, thank you. Sobrang thank you. Dahil sa trail, sa pagtakbo ko sa bundok, as in, na-develop lahat, tinulungan na ako, ang daming opportunity, laging nandyan yung mga tao handang sumuport sa akin. Yun lang po. Thank you.
Salamat, Shirley. Richard?
Yeah. Hello everyone. Sir Dave, thank you. Sir Vin, Sir Bry. Ayun, sa mga gustong mag-try ng trail running, ang tip ko lang na ibibigay yung cool down para ma-prevent natin yung injuries, then find the right shoes and socks for the distance run. Then yung sa training naman natin, increase natin yung mileage and intensity gradually para hindi din mabigla yung katawan and to prevent yung injuries din natin. Yung nutrition din, sobrang importante ng nutrition. So, yun lang po. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. All right, Paolo.
Of course, thank you po sa inyo, Sir Vince, Sir Brian, and Sir Dave for giving this kind of opportunity. And syempre, thank you rin po sa aking ka-team, sa family and friends na laging nakasuporta, na nandyan. Syempre, pati na rin yung girlfriend ko. Lagi silang sumusuporta, lagi nila akong pinagsasabihan sa mga nutrition. Yun lang po. And of course, sa lahat ng nanonood ngayon, thank you rin. Na-encourage namin kayong gumamit ng Injinji. Promise, hindi kayo mapapahiya.
Okay, last but not the least, Godfather.
Yeah, well, thank you, everybody. Paolo, Richard, Shirley, Dave, Anthony, and Shana. It was very informative. I medyo na-enlighten ako doon sa about trail running because
Brian, Vince, I think you two should try it. I mean, Anthony will pace you in
sure.
Wawa.
Sige ba? May kasama ako dyan. Kasama ako. Sige.
Di ba?
Sige, kailangan ko yan actually. I'll take you up on that offer, Dave. Surely.
No problem. No problem. Just once everything is okay, I mean, it will be really, really
Why
easy.
not?
I will. Ako definitely kailangan ko yan.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you everybody. Thank you for watching this. Shout out lang ako, Vince, to Junatsuki. Kahit natalo ka, okay lang. There's keep your head, keep your head held up. I'm still proud of you. Yun lang.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Vince. Thank you to the ambassadors. Thank you.
Right. Well, before we end, ako naman, I would like to say thank you to Dave, Paolo, Shirley, Shana, Richard, Anthony, for your time. Brian, as always, thank you. And that's a wrap, folks. Another episode of Sports for All, but this time presented by Injinji. So if you're going to wear those socks while trail running, only wear Injinji, all right? So see you tomorrow. Tomorrow night, we have Bill Velasco, Boyet Season, and Noel Zarate on the program. See you tomorrow night, folks. Good night and stay safe.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.